Hey friends, it's Susan with Susan Anyway, and today we are going to Canada. We're going to the Canadian Rockies. My husband and I went last September, and I wanted to share with you some resources as long as some beautiful pictures and videos to help you prepare if you want to take this trip, or just be an armchair, isn't that what they call it? Armchair traveler and come along with us. It was really stunning. I think it's probably one of the most beautiful places on earth that I've ever been to. So I'd love to share it with you today. So let's go. Also, I forgot to tell you in my intro, but this is a long video. So if you just want to skip to a particular chapter, I have them all listed in the description, and you can jump around to the places that you're most interested in seeing. So I hope that helps. Here's some things you're going to want to have before you go. I'd recommend some current travel guides. You're not always going to have cell phone service. This will help before your trip to plan, and also on your trip if you need some good information. I also really loved a Facebook group with current up-to-date information. This app, the Guide Along app, was really helpful. It's like an audio tour. We really loved it in Banff because it created this really nice loop for us, and we didn't have to plan anything. We just turned where he told us to turn, and gives you lots of little tidbits. This one has Banff. If you buy 4, it's Banff, Yoho National Park, Lake Moraine, and then Jasper, and then also the Icefields Parkway. And we did buy this package with 4, and I think it said it's like $25 American dollars, but it was absolutely worth it. You can always turn him off when you get tired of him, but just some really helpful information. Some of it is duplicate, but it's still worth it. Another app worth getting is the All Trails app. Go ahead and pay for the $39.99 Pro version because it allows you to download your trails ahead of time, which is super important up there. You don't have cell phone service, and if you don't have your trails downloaded, you're not going to see where you are on the trail, and you're not going to know where the trail goes. We met people on hikes who didn't have it downloaded, and we had to show them where to go. Controversial, but I love some hiking sticks. It made a big difference because it's a lot of up and down and a lot of loose gravel, so definitely recommend hiking sticks. Okay, so let's go. Here's all of our stuff we took. We left on a Sunday and had a long layover in Dallas, and we got to Calgary. This was our rental vehicle. My husband decided to splurge. We woke up day 1 to a little bit of wildfire haze, and I thought I'd show you the itinerary we had for Monday. We ate breakfast at the Ptarmigan Inn, which is where we stayed, and then we started on our audio tour all around Banff. Okay, so we headed off on our guided tour of Banff and surrounding areas. That was the Banff Springs Hotel, and this is the Bow River Valley Overlook. Lots of little scenic places to stop and enjoy nature. You can see like there was definitely a lot of wildfire haze when we went in September, but it wasn't so terrible that you couldn't see the mountains, which was great. This is Tujack Lake. I think this is a reservoir. And this is Lake Minnewanka. Look at me, typical tourist. We just had a lot of fun stopping and looking at different places. Took a lot of pictures. Took a quick hike to Stewart Canyon, which was really nice. And here we are at the canyon where we had to stop because they closed the trail because of bear activity. This is the Bow River. We're back in Canada. We're back in Banff now. And you can see they have rafting, which we would love to do. We stopped at the grocery store, and then we took our sandwiches to Central Park and ate there, which was really nice. This is us trying to take a good picture at Cascade Gardens, and this was also a great place to get a really beautiful shot of downtown Banff, so highly recommend. Then we were headed to Lake Louise, but we stopped at Johnston Canyon. This is the big transcontinental highway. Then we backtracked on the Bow Valley Parkway to Johnston Canyon. I was worried it would be crowded, but we got there so late it was not. This is worth doing. We only went to the lower falls. The upper falls were closed, but the hike was beautiful. Because we got there so late in the day, it was not crowded at all, and just totally worth taking the little side trip to go over here. Here is Justin walking into the little overlook, this tunnel that you had to go through. You did have to wait in line for a little bit to see the falls, because only a few people could be at this overlook for a while, but still just totally worth it. We had a lot of fun. You can see here the trail in places was kind of cantilevered over the canyon. It was just really beautiful, and I definitely recommend making time for this. Now we're back on the road, still driving. It's getting late, but we want to make it to Lake Louise because that's where our hotel was for the evening. Someone gifted us 2 nights at the Chateau on Lake Louise, which is really beautiful, and we would not have been able to pay for that, so that was such a treat. Here we are at Bill Peyto's Cafe in the village. Here's Justin eating some poutine. Bill Peyto's was great. Here's the Chateau. It is dark by the time we get here, but we loved it. Day 2 was all about hiking at Lake Louise. And when you look at our itinerary, let's talk about itineraries. I intentionally overpack my itineraries because you can always pull stuff off, but I like to make an itinerary based on maxing out the day and then just yanking stuff off if we're not going to get to it. Here is the view from our hotel room. Can you believe it? It was amazing. Here is what we ate for most of the time. We did not want to spend a lot of money on food, so we didn't. We hiked right out of the Chateau up to Lake Agnes Tea House. This is the big beehive that you're seeing, and the small lake here is called Mirror Lake. We just stopped to look at it. There's Justin. There were a lot of tourists. It was still kind of hazy and overcast, but a very nice day nonetheless. I can't remember how far it is to Lake Agnes. It's not a terrible hike. Here we are, Lake Agnes. Woohoo! You can see kind of the gravel fields and a glacier in the background, and I'm panning over so you can see the line to the Lake Agnes Tea House. You probably want to do a little research on the Lake Agnes Tea House. For us, it was just a place that I thought about going in there, but then I saw the line and was like, I don't need tea or whatever they can offer me. So we just kind of vibed here for a minute, looked around, but we knew that the trail that we were going to take continued on. We went past the lake. You can see the trail on the right hand side here in this picture. Now we're at the back of the lake. That tea house is there on your left. Now we've climbed, woohoo, all the way up to the top of the big beehive, and it was really beautiful. I was glad to have my All Trails hiking trail going to see our progress. But the colors of the lake get more intense the higher up you are, and Lake Louise is just amazing from this high vantage point. I was definitely out of breath. There were a lot of people up there, but it wasn't so crowded that you were stressed. Oh, and look, see, there's canoes, teeny tiny canoes way down there. That was something that we thought about doing, but decided instead to canoe at Emerald Lake. Now we've gone over the crest and we're going down towards the plain of 6 glaciers. This is just a gravel field where the glaciers had receded. We were going to go to the Swiss tea house, but I looked at the All Trails app when we were in the hotel the night before, and it said that it was closed for construction. It's always helpful to read the comments that people put on a hike that you're looking at, because that was good to know. I would have gone all the way there and been really sad. So now we've descended down to lake level, but we still have a long way to go. And here is our activity for the day. It was not 12 miles, it was 9 miles. We made reservations well in advance at the Chateau for our anniversary dinner. This was, Vollister Stube. I'll write it in the video description. But if you're going to eat at Lake Louise Chateau, make reservations well in advance because they book up. It was a delight and a great way to end the day. Day 3 was a very ambitious day, a very long day. We did a lot, honestly, of the things that were on our itinerary. First thing we did was take the sunrise shuttle from the Chateau to Moraine Lake. We were on the fence about this because it was expensive, but we decided we will probably only do this once in a lifetime, so just go for it. We got there and there was this little band of clouds, and we stood by the lakeshore for a long time because we were afraid we were going to miss sunrise. But then we were like, no, the goods are at the rock pile. So that's the rock pile, and you have to climb up there. See that person in red hiking up? You have to hike up the back of it, really for the money shot at Moraine Lake. Totally worth it. I would recommend going straight there when you get to Moraine Lake. Parking is an issue. I know they've changed the way they handle shuttles, so definitely go and research the best way to go. But gosh, if you can go for sunrise, it was really beautiful. This is actually the back of the rock pile as we're hiking up. And this is, the sun has risen now, and you can see why it's worth seeing. Just amazing, just beautiful. There's me with 8 million of my friends. There were a lot of people there. Just enjoy it. It's a group experience. It's not a solo experience. There's the tiny parking lot. We thought we'd be able to drive over to Moraine Lake and just check it out anytime we wanted, but they actually have it blocked off because the parking lot is almost always full. So we realized getting to go is a treat, and it doesn't always work out. So we were very glad to be able to go and to see it. And then the coolest thing happened. By the time we left, it was completely socked in. It was total white cloud. You could not see the lake at all. So we were just really grateful for the moments that we had with this beautiful gift of Moraine Lake. After sunrise at Moraine Lake, we went back to the Chateau, said a tearful goodbye to how beautiful it was, and got in the Jeep and headed to Yoho National Park. And we canoed at Emerald Lake. This is Emerald Lake. We rented a canoe here. It was much cheaper than it was at Lake Louise, and super beautiful. Hard to find a place in the Canadian Rockies that isn't beautiful. I mean, look at this. There were plenty of people on the lake, but it was not crowded. The lake color was definitely more green than the turquoise lake at Lake Louise. And then we were off for a little more sightseeing. This is Natural Bridge, and you see here the rock formation does make a natural bridge. This is Takakkaw Falls. Falls. I think that's how you say it. It's huge. When you get there, it's just enormous. So many people walking around. It's an easy hike from the parking lot, and definitely worth stopping at. It was just beautiful. And then look, smooches. We took this picture. Actually, we got like a 16-year-old to take that picture. Here's my husband living his best life with his rental Jeep. And this is Peyto Lake. We hiked up to the Overlook. It was a steep little hike, but worth it. This is Mistea Canyon. And you can see like it is just super deep and narrow. It's getting late by now. We're definitely tired, but boy, I had some boxes that I wanted to check off, and this was one of them. So we were there for a little bit. I can't remember honestly how long. It wasn't terrible. This is the river as it's going into the canyon. It just kind of descends, and you can walk out. You can see that we're out on the rocks. There's people out on the rocks. And look, this is sunset. We are on the Icefields Parkway. We are headed to the place that we were going to stay for the night, which was called Sunwapta Falls Lodge, I think. I'll put it in the description. We are so done. We're so tired. We stopped and ate supper at the Saskatchewan crossing and bought like the world's most expensive snack foods at their convenience store. But we were glad it was there because it's literally the only stop. So plan accordingly when you're going to the Icefields Parkway. It's not like there's a 7-Eleven every 3 miles. Day 4, we made it to Sunwapta Falls Lodge, and today we're going to backtrack on the Icefields Parkway and go to some stuff that we couldn't see because it was too dark. Please enjoy my huge poncho dress that I'm wearing because it was raining. Look, isn't he so cute? This is Sunwapta Falls. So you just take a little road right behind where we were staying and get to this, just majestic, beautiful place. This is the Athabasca Glacier in Columbia Icefields. Across the street is this huge place where you can get the bus if you so choose to go out on the glacier. We decided not to do that, but that visitor center is just delightful because they have Wi-Fi or cell phone service and a Starbucks, and just feels like civilization when you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So highly recommend just stopping there for a Starbucks or whatever. This is Parker Ridge and the Saskatchewan Glacier. Here is my intrepid husband making it all the way to the end. I did not. Parker Ridge is beautiful. It's a hard hike, but worth it. This is us going back down, and we're so happy to be going down. And then here is our first wildlife sighting. I love some wildlife, so I was very glad to see. At first we couldn't tell what they were, but they're bighorn sheep, and just going down the road, living their lives. So we went by them and then pulled in and stopped to see them.
We don't want to fight.
There was like a little overlook or something, so cool. Which was just a ton of fun. So here they are. They're just ambling, living their best life. I can't remember if you can see in this video, but a couple people got out of their vehicles to take a better shot and just got very close. Not something I'd recommend. It is tempting. I totally get it. But they are wild animals, and I can't remember what the recommendation is, but 50 yards, something like that. We're in Canada, so it's kilometers, but then, here he comes. So she's like, oh, maybe I should leave. Okay. I stayed in my car. I want everyone to know. This is Stanley Falls at Beauty Creek. We were all by ourselves. It was kind of late in the day. It was really beautiful, but it was time to be done. Day five was a lot of driving. We drove basically to the end of the Icefields Parkway, took a right at Jasper, took another right to go down to, this is on the Icefields Parkway. On the way into Jasper, we saw El Curry. Anyway, you basically have to go around the mountains, take a right, take another right, go down, I can't remember the name, but you take a long road down to Maligne Canyon, and eventually it also will put you out at Maligne Lake. So it was a very rainy day. I was a little sad, a little tired of hiking in the rain, but still beautiful, and we were still there, so like it or not, we're gonna hike, and it was worth it. What I will say is, go ahead and hike. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right, and you would be sad if you stayed in your hotel room and just sat there and watched TV. So we went. It was not that bad. You can see here the rain has stopped. We're surviving, and it was just beautiful. This is a lot of fun. This was a great hike. It was a long hike, and I think you kind of go. The way we did it, I think we were at the 5th bridge and went up towards the Maligne Canyon Wilderness Kitchen, which we had hoped to eat at, but instead it was closed. So we just looked at it sadly and used a porta potty and then ate our sandwiches. Kept going. This is still the canyon. It's super narrow at places and less in other. There were a lot of people hiking, which that was kind of fun. It's kind of fun to be alone. It's also kind of fun to see all the different people taking pictures and enjoying themselves. So definitely recommend this hike, whether the weather is beautiful or not. I'd love to see it in the winter when it's all frozen over. I think you can hike in the canyon, which that sounds super cool. Okay, after driving from Maligne Canyon, we get to, this is Maligne Lake. And at Maligne Lake, there are little tour boats that you can take, you see them here, to go to Spirit Island, which is this really beautiful, very photographed place. But it was kind of expensive, and again, I hate to spend a lot of money. So my husband was like, nope, we're going to do it. And that's what I needed. I was also super cold. So he bought me a latte before this little coffee shop closed. It was like the only thing there. And then we got on our boat with a bunch of our new friends, and we went out to Spirit Island. And again, this was something I wasn't going to do because of the money, but gosh, it was totally worth it. Because when you get to Maligne Lake, you're kind of like, no, there's a lot of lakes. But then when you get on this boat, it just gets more and more beautiful the farther you get from your departure place. The mountains just kind of open up, and you can stand. You see here, we're standing on the back of the boat. A few people can stand there at a time, but we didn't. No one else wanted to be out there, and so we were out there. Well, a few people did, but we were able to be out there almost the whole time, as much as we wanted to, which was just, oh gosh, y'all, it was totally worth it. Highly recommend taking the boat out to Spirit Island. Spirit Island is beautiful, and that was great, but honestly, the ride to me was a highlight. Just you can't make it up. These are memories that you're always going to have. And look, I know I made a lot of videos of me on the back of the boat, but it was too much. It was too beautiful. I couldn't stop. So yeah, definitely recommend. Day 6 was the first day that really did not go according to plan. I wanted to go to the Edith Cavell Meadows Trail, but it was closed. I didn't know that at the beginning of the day. We started our day at the lodge. Here's the lodge. I recommend. It's not fancy, but it'll do. And this is Athabasca Falls, right off the Parkway, Icefields Parkway. Really worth seeing, very easy to get to, and just amazingly beautiful. You can see that's the Parkway there in the distance, but look at the power of these falls. It was just amazing. Lots of tourists. You can drive over a bridge, but yeah, I hate to say it, but you kind of get, oh look, isn't it cute? You're like, oh yeah, another falls. Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, so we couldn't go to Edith Cavell, so we took the Geraldine Road in our handy dandy Jeep all the way up. This is Edith Cavell that we're looking at, the mountain. But we take this long dirt road, bumpy dirt road up to the trailhead for Geraldine Lakes. And let me tell you, there was not another vehicle in this trailhead parking lot. We were all by ourselves. You can see here on the trailhead map that there is a little warning about bears. There's Justin whistling. We tried to whistle or talk or just make noise to let the bears know we were there, because we definitely saw tracks, as you just saw. But this is, it was a longer hike than you're seeing, obviously. But this is my shoe and the beautiful lake that we were sitting at and eating our ubiquitous peanut butter and jelly. Oh, we've moved. So now we're looking at Jasper. Sorry, fast forward to the old fort trailhead. I would recommend, I think this is where All Trails did me wrong. I think it said to go clockwise. No, it said to go counterclockwise, but I would recommend going clockwise, because you just walk like straight up a hill, which would be much easier to walk down. But look at this, really pretty, definitely worth doing. It's not a terribly long hike. And then we went to the back of Jasper and went to Pyramid Island. There was a wedding going on there, so we tried to stay out of their pictures. And this is heading back towards Sunwapta Falls Lodge. This is the Athabasca River, and I was trying to see if I could take a picture. I thought this was really beautiful, but I was trying to not get out of the car, and then here you see me. You can tell by the phone moving that I'm walking back so that I can take a picture. I just really loved this shot, and as I'm walking, I see an elk coming up the riverbank. And I got very excited because there he was, and I was on the bridge, and Justin's still in the Jeep. So I was like, oh my gosh. But he walked by the Jeep. He didn't engage with anyone. He was just doing his thing, walking around. But he was really beautiful and majestic and huge. I was very excited. Take him out of the picture, and I was like, oh my gosh! He was on the banks of the river.
I saw that text and I kept looking at the river like, I don't know what the hell.
And then he like bugled at them, and I was like, he's about to eat them. Oh gosh. So the elk was definitely a highlight, just really beautiful. And now we're headed back down the Icefields Parkway to go to Sunwapta Falls Lodge and eat supper. And I really wanted to come back out to the river to take some sunset pictures. This was our last night at the lodge. We were starting to make our way back to Calgary the next day. So we came back out, we ate supper, we came back out to the river, not very far at all from where we were staying, and just enjoyed being there, seeing the river move, watching the sun go down, being in the mountains. It was really beautiful. Day 7. This is the day we used to do all the things that we didn't get to do on our way back to Calgary. Here's the key to our lodge room, so old school. Here is the beautiful mug that I purchased from Sunwapta Falls. What we decided to do, I wanted to go to Morant's Curve, which is this place where sometimes you see freight trains go by. I wanted to see if a train would come by. So Justin dropped me off there, and he went back to Lake Louise because he wanted to see if he could park there and see the lake one more time. He went to Lake Louise, couldn't find a parking place, and so he came back, and we waited for, well, I waited for over an hour, and finally a train came. I'm just so happy. You gotta take the photos. I'm just doing a video. You gotta take more than you think you should. God bless these folks that just randomly walked up. I knew I heard it. I was right. After that happy seeing of the train, we went and parked. This is the bear fence they have around this huge parking lot at the local ski place where you take a tram over to Lake Louise if you can't find parking, which we couldn't. So we did that. Justin was very happy to see Lake Louise in the sunshine. When we had been there before earlier this week, it was, a little overcast. So he just really loved Lake Louise and was happy to see it one more time. So we basked in the glory. We were sad not to be able to go into our hotel anymore because we were no longer guests, but it was just fun to see it one more time. We ate at Bear Street Pizza in Banff. Here we are, both of us, so happy. And then we drove the last leg back to Calgary. It was a beautiful trip. It was a lot of fun. And our hotel was right at the airport. So we sat and watched the planes and got ready to fly out the next day. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful. It was fun for me to even make it and just relive some of the moments that we had in Canada. It was a great trip of a lifetime for sure. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I try to respond to all the comments that I get. So thanks again for watching, and I'll have another video soon. Thanks.